Yeah, thank you. It's great to be with you all. I like to live by the example when we know better, we do better. So I'm going to actually start my remarks by asking us to take a brief moment of reflection, to think about the things that Rabbi shared with us that transcend ourselves, to think about giving and the purpose that we all have as a governance team and as a community to serve our youth, but also our families. So if we could just take a moment of reflection, I'd really appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. Something that I just realized that I think in my time here, I have asked this boardroom to have a moment of silence, and it's been this board meeting during this week of school. Sadly, a year ago, it was post the Uvalde, Texas tragedy and massacre. And tonight it's about giving. So I think we're headed in a solid direction of reflection. Public education to me is an incredible pipeline to strengthening our humanity. I think that's what brings us together in a shared purpose. But I also think it has other direct lines to strengthening our economy, to strengthening our national safety. And we just talked about and heard from one of our students that didn't feel safe. So it's not just at a macro level, it's also at a micro level too, in terms of the role that we play. We know that the role of public education is to improve and steady property values. It's to help deepen and broaden our pipeline for our workforce. And ultimately, its purpose, I think, is to advance democracy. And I think, one of the things, we start our meeting in a moment of reflection and recognition of where we can do better and step outside of ourselves. I also want to take a brief moment to celebrate what just transpired across our system over the last week, where we had over 2,000 members of the class of 2023 who had a great opportunity to earn their diploma. It was such a pleasure and a joy to be a part of that, supporting them along their journey. That's why we exist. That's why we do what we do in PSD. And I would tell you, while we have work to do, and I do not want to minimize that at all, to be a better system, a better community, I think that is the role of humanity, evolving, iterating, listening, being more empathic. I would also say that there's hope that I have as a result of listening and celebrating to many of our young adults across our system who are already figuring out ways to be better communicators, to push us to solve problems, to do hard things. I feel supported and strengthened by who we're surrounded by, and that's our youth, not just our community who's pushing us in a very healthy way to be better. Our students are too, and they're showing us the way in many instances, and I'm just really, really proud. I want to take a second to thank our families for trusting us with your children, for us to teach them, to support them, and to continue to push us to figure out ways to be better servant leaders to your family and, most importantly, your children and young adults. The last couple of weeks, 13 years of public education to achieve walking across the stage of graduation doesn't happen by accident. There's a lot of people who are investing in our youth. And I want to thank the hundreds of staff who worked for months to put on more than a dozen commencement events. We know that there's some on the horizon with our charter schools still. But because of you, our graduates and our honored guests felt special over the last couple of weeks. We saw that there was an emotional experience, just as they should feel those particular things in those particular moments. And I just want to personally thank, whether you were at the Lincoln Center or at the Moby Arena, the environments were first class. Not only were they clean and secure and well decorated and joyful, but it didn't happen just because of the teachers, even though they were instrumental in that process. The various custodians who worked around the clock for 2 weeks to make sure that that experience was first class for everybody was really mission critical. The security members who worked around the clock, the parking attendants, the administrative staff who made sure the programs were right and the diplomas were in the right order, the various leadership teams at the school, the volunteers, our partners at CSU, our communications team who made sure that people had access whether they were able to be in person and in attendance or not and still have the same level of first-class experience. I run the risk every time I start naming groups that I'm going to leave somebody out, but I really do believe that it was an incredible systemic effort to make sure that people felt seen, heard, and celebrated, and the overwhelming amount of positive feedback that I have received from various constituents it's something that makes me incredibly proud. And so while we're in a space of reflection of knowing that we have work to do to be a better organization, I do think that's also juxtaposed by things that we are doing really well that we also deserve to be celebrated and the people who make those things possible. So I just wanted to name that. You know, community of voice and engagement is going to continue to be a common thread around just the way of work, because that's what pushes us to be a school system that is a public institution. Tonight, I'm really grateful that our District Advisory Board Chair and Chair-elect will present our DAB's annual report. You know, at a time when it may feel easier to disengage or pose questions without offering solutions, the parents and guardians who are offering their time through DAB are leaning in and stepping up in really important ways and having really courageous, tough, honest, candid conversations that are really necessary to move our system forward. They challenge our assumptions, our data, our ideas, and where we're putting advocacy and where we're not. So I just want to say that I'm grateful for that update tonight. I want to also say thank you to any member of our organization or volunteers or parents from the community who extend and step up in a volunteer type role, whether you're on a committee, stepping up to volunteer in a school setting and help a teacher, a paraprofessional, or on some type of district board. We recognize that that work could be not happening by you, and you are leaning in an area and time where we need you more than ever. And I just want to say thank you for all of your opportunities to step up and be an instrumental role in moving our system forward. And speaking of that, as you know, student advisors are a big committee that we pay a lot of attention to as a governance team. And I believe that for our new membership going into next year, there are applications that are available for high schoolers that want to share their experiences and ideas of how to make our school system better with the Board of Education and our cabinet. You can apply for the Student Advisory Council now, and there's more information on our district website. It is this type of involvement and listening and the ebb and flow, the tap dance of working with each other and being gracious with each other that allows us to make continuous improvement efforts, in my opinion. And tonight we're going to talk about that. Dr. Schmitz is with us again this evening. We are one of the strongest districts in the state of Colorado. I want to continue to reiterate that and lead from a place of strength while also being humble that there are areas that we need to pay more attention to. We're going to learn a little bit more about recent data that has been public to show where we're making quality improvements and where we have to pay more attention to make more systemic efforts to double down to ensure more students, if not all students, are experiencing success over time. We know that we only have 2.5 school days left this school year. I'm not counting, I promise you that. But I want to make sure that, you know, we can't do this alone. We want to finish this year the same way that we started, which is strong. And so I just want to say thank you as we close out this year for everybody that's been a part of our successes, who's challenged us on our opportunities to grow. You continue to make us better, and I'm super grateful to be the superintendent of this incredible school system. So thank you for allowing me some time to provide a community update.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Brian.